Hi everybody, Alex here from Monad Pool. Epoch 243 is upon us and like to go check out what's going on in the network, maybe make some staking recommendations, explore what's going on. So thanks for joining us. Let's go check it out. This is monadpool.com/cardano.html. Nobody has suggested a name. I'm almost willing to say the first name suggestion might be the domain I go by and register this under. So, yeah. If you see here, we have now 2,918 rows in the Epoch Now table, which means that's the number of relays that are currently listed as active that I'm able to kind of grab some kind of data for. And we have another epoch in here, so we're starting to get a decent number of epochs in here. I think we might be able to turn this into a little bit of an animated GIF soon, which would be cool. But let's go check out stake density and relay density. So one very small change that makes a very big difference actually is what I've done here, and I probably want to increase the number of bins live actually, is rather than trying to make every color of every cell have an equal number of colors, so that means the number of cells which is a color is constant and the bin size or where we cut off the colors at, rather than having that constant, we are now keeping the bin size constant and the color, the number of each color falls where it may be. So I think in that case what we can do is we can increase this a bit and get a little bit more variation. But what you'll see here, and what maybe is surprising to you, is why is there just one purple dot in Frankfurt? Well, that is because, we'll see in a second, Frankfurt has now 383 relays and just over 3 billion, I believe, if I'm counting the zeros right in that, or the decimal places right, just over 3 billion ADA staked out of it. So when we look at the network this way, it's not super happy, or I'm not super happy about that. We have a little bit of color in here. You can see New York with 111 relays, and what is that, 1.7 billion ADA? Maybe 176 million. I gotta count. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1.7 billion ADA. So, right, that makes sense. It's showing up as a semi-medium purple. But if you look at the network this way, it's very clear that we can do a better job of spreading our stake out, because right now, if something were to happen in Frankfurt and take a good chunk of these offline, depending on whether or not, if the relays in this region don't have other infrastructure, other places, that could not be, or that would not be an ideal event for the Cardano network. So if you can, check your pool, check where its relays are, check if they're all in Frankfurt, and how we can do that, right, is let's actually do that live right now, show how someone would do that. Just to be clear, what we're going to show, just because someone has a relay in Frankfurt, that's not a bad thing at all. But if they only have infrastructure in Frankfurt, we might not be happy about that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn off these density things and just show relays. And we're going to try to find Frankfurt. Can do that by adding in these labels. Where are you, Frankfurt? Right, okay, so here's Frankfurt. And I'm just going to pick one that sounds like it has a cool name. Actually, I'm going to pick one that is a multi-pool operator, so because I know that I don't really care if people delegate away from them. So OSHA 5, I believe, is one of these like second or third biggest pool operators So luckily, OSHA 5 seems to be operating relays not just in Frankfurt, but in northern Paris, northern France, southern France, a little bit of Germany, a little bit of New York. So, you know, this would be okay, because even though they have their ADA staked here, it's also staked there, and so that's good. But if you were to add this filter in for your pool and you were to see that they were only in Frankfurt, then you might want to consider finding someone who is spread out their infrastructure a little bit more. Is that clear to everyone? Does that make sense? If we look at the stake change layers, which I don't think we did quite yet, turn off the relays. You can see, yeah, Frankfurt is still kind of on a rampage. Looks like this is the epoch. It must have just gone over 3 billion ADA staked. How much did it get added? No, 125 million ADA added. 125 million ADA added to the region in this epoch. 8 new relays, which is comparatively less than in other places, but still, I mean, 8 relays that are new in Frankfurt is more than the number of relays in, this is probably like Dubai or something, or Oman, saying, more than the number in Mumbai. Does that make sense? The number of new relays in Frankfurt is more than the total number of relays in Mumbai, in Bangalore, maybe Andhra Pradesh. Show my Indian geography skills off. More than, how do we say? Actually, we can do this in a more intelligent way. Let's show a filter. Let us try to filter for on the Epoch rollup data set. We can select GB relay, and we can set this to 8. We want to see what parts of the world have between 1 and 8 relays. So every single region that is currently being displayed has a number between 1 and 8 relays. We can verify that by this part of, what is that, like not Saskatchewan, Ontario or something, I don't know, Manitoba, one of these like breadbasket Canada thing has 1 relay in it. Maybe Sao Paulo or something, I don't know, Brazil, 5. So all of these cells have less relays in them than what were opened up in Frankfurt last epoch, which is kind of insane to me. So you can understand, if people would stop opening relays in Frankfurt and start opening relays in other places, you know, every epoch we would see like a new little cell on here, and we'd start to get more and more coverage. But we keep seeing Frankfurt just growing like mad, and also ADA being staked into it like mad. So this is the podcast or video in which I strongly take a stance against further relays being created in Frankfurt and further ADA being staked in Frankfurt, because I don't think it's healthy for the long-term success of the network. So does that kind of make sense? I think I like this, actually showing how we can live slice up the data and look at it in different ways. So if we want to see the inverse of this, we can say what parts of the network have from 9 to whatever, 9 to 400 is more than anyone. Maybe I can only say 3, a number that's in data set. So this includes not Frankfurt. Trying to drag that over. Laggy. There we go. From 383 to 9. So these are the places in the network that have more relays than what Frankfurt created, or than what were created in Frankfurt last epoch. So you can see the difference between these two is rather large, right? It's basically only places in America or the United States and most Central European places and a few pockets of Japan or East Asia and Southeast Pacific can compete with or outsize the growth of Frankfurt alone. So maybe we gotta do something about that. Yeah. Overall, I think it's a pretty interesting epoch. We see if we expand this out, can delete this filter. There is some kind of like reallocation of funds and relays out of parts of Central Europe, but it looks like it's being compensated for by the growth in other parts of Central Europe. So I am happy to see again more growth in South America, Nigeria, South Africa. That's cool. I think one other thing I'm also going to do between now and the next Epoch update is right now each little cluster kind of represents a city, but I think I might add in another level of data which is more regional than like city level. So maybe like all of South America, this region of these 4 dots here would be clustered into a single one, because you can see they don't have that much. And I think it would be more interesting to make like region to region comparisons of like all of this chunk of South America versus, Australia, New Zealand, maybe that versus Japan and Korea, maybe that versus the eastern seaboard of the US, western seaboard of the US, Scandinavia versus like Central Europe versus Mediterranean Europe, something like that. And I think right now maybe these regions are too granular and too cellular to like really make any comparisons across. So that's something I'll think about doing. Okay, and of course, if you have any questions or ideas for what else to include, I'm happy to do that. Some of these features that I used this epoch were actually thought of by other people and contributed on Twitter or in YouTube comments. So I'm happy to get any suggestions that way. And I think that's that for the epoch. Very quickly, as always, if you enjoyed this, please consider delegating to Monad. We're growing at a pretty decent clip. What's going on here? Yeah, we're up to 281,000 ADA. So I think we have like a 1 in 4 shot of, minting a block now, every epoch. This is growing pretty fast. I think it wasn't long ago we were at 200,000. So I do appreciate all the support we're getting from this. So cheers and have a good Epoch 243. Hope you get lots of blocks and lots of rewards. Bye-bye.